That's what we're gonna start with. Preach Gaming, Dragonflight is here. Does it live up to the hype? A bit of context. Honestly, look, every WoW expansion lives up to the hype for the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, up to like maybe a month and a half, and then it kind of dies down. And we'll see what the end game is like. In my opinion, it's just gonna be obviously Mythic plus grinds. Maybe completioners are gonna be doing renown and reputation, whatever. But the way I see it, I mean, it's mostly cosmetic. All the items in that reputation are pretty much useless for anyone who's doing Mythic pluses. So, you know, I didn't even bother getting renown, whatever, because it's just fucking useless. Professions, in my opinion, are going to be useless. It's cool that people are doing it now and spending so much money for no good reason, just buying shit. I made a good chunk of money, like 230,000 gold, and I haven't even been like really farming. I just like, you know, leveling a DPS character. In between queues to a dungeon, I gather some herbs and mines. Made good money. But yeah, anyways, let's see what this is. Honestly, the best thing about it is technically being able to fly at the beginning of an expansion is fantastic. In my opinion, it didn't have to come with dragon riding. Could have been just like regular flying. Should be available at the beginning of the expansion. Just do a little quest or something and boom, you have flying. But whatever, it's neither here nor there. Let's start. Dragonflight is here. Does it live up to the hype? By Preach Gaming. Ah, look, it's Taliesin, the Tuskar lover. We're
going.
We're going. Also, I'll be massaging my legs for a bit. Hey, sounds about right. Sounds about right. For many people. I got lucky. It took me 2 tries to get to Dragonflight, but yeah.
1 week in, 1 day remains before the end of the first reset of Dragonflight. It has been a hell of a week. I have focused on one goddamn character, and I still haven't hit everything I want to do with that character. So let's talk about the launch, see what's going on. For the launch itself...
I mean, that doesn't really say much, let's be real. Not being able to finish all of that, all the stuff you want to do on one character on the first week, I mean, that's a good thing, but it doesn't mean you won't be able to in the month or whatever. In this game, like, the patch is 3-4 months away, so that's not necessarily good. It's not bad, but it's not necessarily like means anything.
Though, and part of the disruptive to my inevitable degeneracy that comes with a WoW expansion, I was over at Dragon Castle. Blizzard took us down there. We got to meet Brienne of Tarth, Gwendolyn Christie, and Neve Walsh, who you might know from The Sandman on Netflix. They got those down. Who did a reading for us of a wonderful script that Mr. Noble had written for us about the story of Dragonflight. There's going to be a big IGN video on the whole thing.
No idea.
Played some games with some wonderful people, and that was really cool, but very disruptive to leveling. Very, very disruptive to leveling. I had to play from a barn just outside of a castle on actual launch night, but it was fun nonetheless, and thank you to everybody who joined in for that. But then we got back, and then we got to enable what was going on. So one of the first things that surprised me coming from the alpha and the beta is just how quickly they're letting us level in Dragonflight. I've just seen a thread on Reddit. I'm going to link it down below. There's going to be a bunch of links below this video with some tips and stuff for all you guys. That people have found that you can level in like under 2 hours. Solo. That's great. That's really cool. This is like the fastest
Wait. What? Whoa. What'd you say?
Some tips and stuff for all you guys.
Here I have a VOD of me leveling completely solo from 60 to 70 in 1 hour and 49 minutes, which I think is the fastest anyone has done solo. Okay, I will need to watch that. That would really help me, especially with the Warlock.
People have found that you can level in like under 2 hours. Solo.
That's fantastic.
Great.
Yeah.
That's really cool. This is like the fastest leveling I think they've given us since Cataclysm. Pretty wacky.
It is really fast leveling.
And
yeah, but Cataclysm had only 5 levels, so, you know.
really on display. I know several of my friends who've already done 6 or 7 characters.
I have 8
in the first week, and of course we have one more week of relaxation. I did note that some new players, and actually, interestingly enough, when I
did 8 on the
browsing
first
through
week.
forums and things, I saw a lot
5
of
to go.
people who have come from like WoW Classic. They didn't play any modern retail WoW. They came back to World of Warcraft via the Classic route.
Yeah.
And are checking out Dragonflight, and they're like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening. This is not how the game works. It does in modern era WoW. You get a couple of weeks to do whatever the hell you want.
True.
You want to go and farm 3,300 dirt piles, as somebody did on Reddit as well? Go ahead and do that. You can do that as well. You want to get all your characters leveled up so they're
As a rate of 1 artifact per dig spot, 15 renown per artifact, and 2,500 renown per level. Assuming he started from level 5, that's about 3,300 dig spots. Dig spot as in archaeology that gives renown. You can eventually dig in the dirt with a shovel. They're basically treasure chests. Shovels come with 5 charges per, and there are 15 resources to buy. Think you could get this at rank 6? You can also get shovels that have 20 charges from
they're
blacksmiths.
all capped so they can jump into the new content whenever they
Interesting.
want to do that. You can do that too. If you want to just work on professions and complete work orders and things, you can go and do that. These first 2 weeks, of course, we have one more week of this, is the fun relaxation period. But some people are like, I feel like I've already got all the gear and I'm like saved to everything. So is this all it is? No, the season hasn't started yet. It will actually start in another.
Technically it is. I have guildies that are like farming out, like doing like rares and the chests and getting their 382 to 385 ish. Someone had a 387 and 389 gear, but I think that was a profession. And I was like, bro, 372 is more than enough. I'm like 366 item level, and I'm not even gonna log into my main anymore until like Tuesday. Cause all of this grinding, it's gonna give you an edge for like maybe the first 5 to 10 mythic pluses, and then it's like, who gives a shit, right? It's like, it's not a big deal, especially because as a tank, and I'm gonna be running my own keys, I'm not gonna be joining people because I wanna like push my own keys back and forth. I don't see a reason to get any more gear. Like, I'll get it with mythic pluses. It's not that big of a deal. Like, farming out now, the thing is, like, in my opinion, it's way more important to level alts right now, because leveling alts while Mythic Plus available is gonna be really fucking, like, not fun. Because you're like, well, I'm missing out on getting gear. Right now, there's, like, it's really long and annoying to get gear. You're like, fuck it, I'll just get my alts up.
The week or so, and that's what will
A waste of
happening.
time getting
I will be
380s.
there. You may have seen the announcement on Twitter. I will be flying to Switzerland on Monday to join Echo for the race
It's like-
to World.
Farming 380 gear now is the same as, like, hardcore farming gear like a week before a patch comes out, where all the gear that you just farmed is gonna be useless because there's gonna be a catch-up mechanic that like boosts your item level to like a decently high level. Right, so it's like, why would I even bother now?
First, along with an absolutely stellar cast of casters, including Mr. Jeeth. For our FF14 fans out there and previous Echo fans will know Mr. Jeeth Bell. Jeeth will be there as well. Cannot wait. Hoping to get some sit-down time with him, talk about FF and his journey through that as well. Should be absolutely crisp, but that's what's going to be happening. I will be there until Christmas, pretty much. We'll still be streaming and things, and Chris has obviously got a ton of Blizzard interviews and things for you guys to go through. So plenty of content coming out on YouTube as well. Big thumbs up. Some tips, though, for leveling. Get flying straight away. I have done Lore Master now. It's one of the things I always like to tick off in the first week is getting Lore Master done. It's just so helpful long term. There have been several instances where Blizzard has released content in 2 or 3 patches later.
Oh,
like,
I see.
you kind of need to have done this quest line. Plus, you pick
But
up
it's never really lore master. It's not like lore master. It's there's exploration usually, reputation, and main quest. Usually that's what it is, not lore master.
of reputation along the way. If you're not interested in farming dailies or whatever, or farming keys
Definitely
to go
not.
down, questing is a good leg start on that. I have like 10. I think my lowest one is the Tuskar, and I haven't really done any farming. I've done the events for sure, but I've not done any farming, and that's where I'm at right now. I'm pretty happy with my progress on that, and that's mainly from questing to get that done. So flying, yeah, the way I leveled is I like to do 100% of every zone before I move on to the next one, which meant I had kind of normal, slightly advanced dragon flying until the final zone, and then realized I should have absolutely gone and done the dragon glyphs as quickly as humanly possible, because it's
Yep.
not only like way faster, but it's incredibly fun when you have just pure, raw, unadulterated speed all the time while leveling up. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. After a week of dragon riding, honestly, after like 2 days of dragon riding, I'm not sick of it in a sense, but it doesn't feel very fast anymore. I don't know, it just doesn't feel very fast. If anything, this doesn't feel fast, and flying outside, like in Orgrimmar and shit, feels really slow now. I got like the most negative effect you can get from dragon riding. Dragon riding itself doesn't feel fast, and regular flying feels even slower. I really hope they release like a 450% flying by for the regular mounts at this point.
Yeah, it's well worth it. I was kind of curious as to how the guides had gone around. I saw a lot of people when they started Dragonflight were like, I'm just going to go and get every glyph. And I was like, oh, that sounds kind of spoilery. You're just going to fly around every zone, pick up all the glyphs, and then you're going to start. I now totally see that. I thankfully it's account wide though, so I don't need to do it again.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
It. I used handy notes. If you're still not doing your dragon glyphs, handy notes on CurseForge, which will just put all the dragon glyphs on your map, so you can't possibly miss any. I'll show you where they all are, and then once you collected them, they nicely disappear, which is great. So I did that, and then immediately. My leveling experience was really strange because I 100%ed every zone, which means I capped my character as I started the third zone. As I went to the Azure Span, I was level 70 already, and I had...
Oh, Jesus Christ, bro. I finished the whole campaign quest at like 67.
I'd not done anything in Azure Span and nothing in Thaldraszus yet. And they do want you to finish the campaign before they give you a lot of the endgame stuff, which is very normal for all MMOs at this point, especially on the first characters. You must do the campaign to know what the hell is going on with the game. So I had 2 more zones to do before I could actually unlock things like World Quest. I was on Allcraft on Friday with Rich and Asmon Gold, where I talked about this. Is like I had not only done all the Mythic Zeros and done.
Man, I cannot watch an Allcraft. Aside from Rich annoying me as hell, just like, you know, he might be like a really good person. I just like I cannot stand his mentality. But like they're too long. They're like 1 hour to 2 hours, and a lot of it is kind of about nothing, you know. So I just can't watch Allcraft. I tried a few times. I was like, yeah, like this is a bit meh.
My first sweep of gear where I got crazy unlucky. My item level is really
but good
low,
for them for keeping it running.
Matter. Mythic Plus is going to come along and smash that out of the park. So it wasn't a big bummer, but a little bit of a pride hit for sure. I did all that. I then went and did Glory of the Dragonflight Hero, which is the achievement for doing all the mythic achievements. You can do it in Mythic 0. It doesn't matter if you're saved or you
what's the mount for it?
If you're saved, but you can go and do these now. I've done that, and it was really fun. Got us a nice fire slug mount to go along with it. If you're going to go and do this...
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. The only way... Like, this is the only reward I would accept at this point from doing the Mythic 0 achievement. Either a reskin to your Dragon Riders, like Dragon Riding mount, or a completely different Dragon Riding mount. But I doubt that would happen. So just a reskin for one of the current mounts. That's like the only thing I would accept. Any mount they're gonna throw at you right now, especially if it's not flying, it's like, I don't give a shit. Right? Unless like very unique, like something like the Keystone Master from Shadowlands. That was kind of cool for the first one. Second, third, fourth, I was just like, yeah, like why? Like this is the same shit, just recolored. I mean, the last one was pretty good, the red one, but I feel like the first one is more than enough.
This though, I would really recommend you leave Uldaman till last. And if you're like 50-50 on doing this, or you kind of want to do it, maybe wait until something changes with the final boss of Uldaman. Of all the achievements we did, there was one that took us maybe an hour, and it was because it was bugged. We just had to keep doing it over and over again until eventually the game decided we'd done it, and that was in Brackenhide. However, the last one in Uldaman is really frustrating. It's super frustrating, and you can kind of cheese it with DPS. You can kind of get around it just by doing more and more damage. We were in our 340s when we did it, which is pretty low. You ideally need to kill the boss in about 50 seconds. We did it 1 tank, 4 DPS. We did eventually get it, but it took us about 2 hours, and that wasn't because of lack of damage. It was purely down to how the mythic achievement works.
I just couldn't do myself. I had 2 orbs on me.
2 on the tank, 2 on tank, 3 on tank.
Oh my god, fucking through. Nice.
Oh my god, if you saw my
Fucking
point.
hell.
Yeah, I saw your point. I saw your
I
point.
had so many orbs.
Yeah, I was like, we have to
Jesus
kill him before.
Christ.
I literally had like 15 orbs on me.
Oh my fucking god, that was
What was the
tight.
damage taken that fight? Like, I was just constant.
I wasn't sure about this before, but I feel like you are supposed to soak those sands, right? That's what it is.
2 orbs on me.
Or is it because they killed him so fast that there were no
And
sands?
that wasn't because of lack of damage.
Let me see before the...
40s when we did it, which is pretty low. You've got to, you
Yeah.
ideally need to kill the boss in about 50 seconds. We did it 1 tank, 4 DPS. We did eventually get it, but it
Like, it's not
took
really
us
soking
about
them,
2
though.
hours. And
Is it
that
just
wasn't
stopping
because
it
of
from
lack of
being too
damage.
big?
It was purely down to
Like, I can't...
you leave all
Oh,
we did
let me see it
until
again.
eventually. Last one, kind of cheese it with DPS.
Because the
You can
Warlock
kind of
there
get around it
is
just by doing
soaking
more and more
it.
damage. We were in our 340s when we did it, which is pretty low. You've got to, you ideally need to kill the boss in about 50 seconds. We did it 1 tank, 4
But see, it still grows, so it's like, what are you... What exactly are you soaking
DPS.
there?
We did eventually get it, but it took us about 2 hours, and that wasn't because of lack
And
of
this,
damage.
so, like, the
It
boss
was
just
purely
soaked
down
all
to
of them,
how
so
the mythic
whatever.
achievement works.
I just couldn't do myself. I had 2 orbs on me.
Then the tank soaks as many as you can,
3 on
sure,
the tank,
whatever.
3 on tank, 3 on
4
tank.
over here.
Okay, 3 on tank, yeah.
Oh my god, fucking through.
Yeah, I'll need to look into it. Like, this mechanic, the thing is, it's like... The Warlock was standing on them, but it didn't really soak them.
Oh my god, if you saw my
Fucking
point.
hell.
Okay,
I saw your
we'll
point.
check.
I saw
I'll
your
check
point.
that again.
So many orbs.
Yeah, I was like, we have to
All things, I just released a video about the dungeons, and like, in my opinion, like, thank God Alderman is in season 2, but like, the last boss requires pretty much all range. Like, the whole dungeon really requires ranged hard, right? So,
kill him before.
I literally had like 15 orbs on me.
but yeah, tyrannical
Oh my
on this boss, either like you soak, but you're gonna take a whole lot of damage, so it's a lot of AoE healing, and then the boss does a lot of AoE damage as well. So tyrannical on this dungeon, I still think it's gonna be like very, very, very painful compared to others, and like there will probably be nerfs to the AoE damage.
fucking god, that was tight.
damage
I will see.
taken that fight? Like, I was just constant.
I hope it gets a little rework or is a little bit more consistent, but yeah.
I don't even know
It's
what that
still worth
achievement is.
doing, though. The Fire Slug is very cool, but I did that before I'd been to Valdrakken. I literally had done all those things before I had even gotten to the main city. I had got to the main city in the beta, but I had not reached Valdrakken on my live retail main character until
Wal
I
did
already
his
got
mythic
the
Xerox.
Glory of the Dungeon Hero achievement.
Jesus.
On my character.
That's
so it was
respect
kind of,
in a
an
sense.
interesting situation to be in
Yeah.
there to have all that stuff done. But eventually we did get Lore Master, we did get Cats. We did complete everything in the zones. I then went to do the advanced flying challenges. Very difficult in certain races because of the server lag, which is...
Oh wait, it's not. I mean, it might be Lore Master, but the thing is, it's like specific quests in the zone. It's not necessarily Lore Master. Lore Master is like an amount of quests, which is like the original Lore Master. That's why it might be confusing. But like a Lore Master now, I think since Legion, is basically doing specific quests in the zone, right? That maybe. I honestly, I don't remember. It's been a very long time since I've bothered doing any of this.
frustrating, but fucking branches, man. Oh my god.
I know.
Some of the,
Yeah, some of the
as
courses
always with
are
these kind of
fucking
things,
pain in the
there's
ass.
like 6 races per zone. 5 are like one-shots. 5
Yeah.
you just go in,
And
you
then
do it,
one
you-
is
you go
like
and
the
get
branch is in the way.
an idea of what the route looks like, and you sometimes just
Yeah.
get gold, and you didn't even have to try very hard.
Yep.
And then there's that one race, though. That
Yep.
one race that's just the worst. Just the
Yeah.
absolute worst.
I
that
feel
happens to me a
this
couple
was
of
the
times.
one. This is the one I had to try 4 times because of what I think this is the one. Let me see.
And it's just so painful. It's so painful, and there's just an annoying branch, and that branch doesn't need to be there. And if you could burn the world, and sometimes you kind of agree with Sylvanas, like Darnassus needed to die because it was made of branches. And all
Yes,
those
this is the
branches need
one. When you are near the water, there's like this little tree, and the water's here, so you have to like go right in. One time, I literally smashed into the rock in between those. Like there's like here, and then there's the rock, and the circle is right here. So like rock, circle, but before that there's like a tree and water, so you have to go through, and if you're too low you will hit the rocks. You have to be like low and then up right away, but there's not a lot of time to react because I'm like, you know, I just use my ability that just like shoots you forward. And first time I crashed into the thing, second time I think I crashed into the tree, third time I don't remember, but fourth time is when I got it. Third time something else happened, I think in a different area of the course. But yeah, because I was already like impatient as fuck. Yeah.
To go away.
Yeah, this score
Well,
specifically
I
was.
went and did that, got the advanced gold, and I loved every minute of it. I'm adoring dragon flying. I put it on Twitter the other day. It's like, we can't have a WoW expansion anymore that doesn't start with flying. It's so much better. It's just so much more fun. I didn't even miss flying. I got to the new zone. You're ground mounted for a little bit, and then you get flying, and it just makes your life so much better. And there's the zones embrace flying, like Wrath of the Lich King did, like the Burning Crusade did. It just makes so much more fun.
I agree.
So much more fun. I do agree with some people, though. They should enable also normal flying. I have seen some people really struggling with dragon flying. It's a shame.
Fair enough.
There are definitely people who are struggling with it. So a couple of tips here is your number 2 ability, which I think some people use to get like slight elevation. If you aim straight up, and I mean literally just pull your camera and...
If you aim up and do the second ability twice, you start getting like the blue buff where you like start recharging.
Look straight up and press that button like 2-3 times. You'll not only be going fast enough to regenerate vigor, but you'll also be extraordinarily high, and you can't really fall down from there. If you're really struggling with dragon flying, the trick really is just aim straight up and spam your number 2 ability. That's it. Just don't use your number 3. Just spam your number 2, and you'll quickly be like way above everything in the Dragon Isles, and then able to go wherever you want. And you're so high up that you'll be gaining all your vigor back like constantly. It's very, very, very hard to screw up if you've got 2 or 3 charges of that. And the fact of the matter is, once you're traveling between places, as long as you're not doing small hops, which you can just do anyway, if you're traveling between places, you'll regenerate nearly all of it by the time you come back down, and you just have this constantly sort of full vigor bar. Very, very hard to run out if you do that. So if you are struggling with dragon flying,
that is the very long way to do it, because it takes you like almost twice the amount of time to get from point A to point B. But yes, you will always have vigor.
Originally, I was doing like really coordinated, like shallow depth swoops to get height, especially trying to go up high places. That is just wrong. There's just no necessary reason
but it's more
to do
fun.
that.
Yeah,
you
it's
just
more fun.
aim straight up and you'll just go straight into the sky at warp speed while you're also regenerating more vigor to go even higher. And once you've got all your dragon glyphs, you can just infinitely, you can fly up to the moon, and you just have plenty of space left.
Only tip I would say is try to start with like 2 vigors. 1 can be like, you might fail with 1, especially if you're in a shitty spot. With 2, you'll never fail if you go like straight up twice. But with 1, like you might not be able to get fast enough when you flip downwards in order to get the vigor up. It's possible, but it's a lot harder, and also depends on the location.
And then you'll get even better with it. So if you are struggling with it, that's fine. I still agree though. Some people just want ordinary flying. They just prefer it. Okay. I've seen people fight.
And the thing is, it's like, if there's dragon riding flying, just add a normal flying as well. This fear of like people not using dragon riding because there's normal flying is so dumb. There's no reason not to have normal flying if you have dragon riding. Either way, you're flying, and technically if you put effort, dragon riding is faster. But just people don't want to. They're like, I'm okay with being slower. I don't see why Blizzard is just like, no, this is the new system. This is the new system. You have to use it. We don't want other systems that compete with it, because we want everyone to enjoy our shit. We don't want like our shit that we work so hard on to go to waste on some people. Like, bro, just fuck off with this mentality, man. The feature is there. If people like it, they'll use it. If not, they won't. Stop with this like it's a fear mentality where it's like we waste the time, or we invest the time in this product. We want people to use the product the way we want it to be used. It's like, well, what if I don't want to? Well, it's your fucking problem. We wait till like patch 0.15, patch 0.2 until we allow flying anyways. It's so dumb.
No, you can't. Why?
Yeah, why?
What happens to you if somebody prefers to go slower and steadier? Nothing.
Nothing, except that they would feel like, oh, well, we wasted all this time on the feature.
Nothing happens to you. And plus, we can't forget that there is a wealth of mounts people have collected over the years
That they can't use now.
Absolutely love to do that. Now, Blizzard have said that is going to come in a later patch. They are
Obviously.
going to bring in old flying so you can use it, but they do want people to get used to dragon flying and try it out and do all those kind of things. But so, for those of you who aren't enjoying dragon flying or struggling with it, hopefully that little tip of just flying straight up will aid you in some way. But yeah, Blizzard have said they are going to allow normal flying later down the line.
Yeah,
so
the usual.
Get all your fancy mounts.
No
out.
reason to,
do,
but
I don't
the
think
usual.
you can retroactively strap on dragon riding to old mounts, which is what people have suggested. Never say never. It doesn't
Not
seem to
right
fit
now,
to
at
me,
least.
though. Like, dragon flying is very specifically tailored to these few mounts that we have. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe it will go that way. Personally, I'm really enjoying.
I just wanted to put on Invincible and all the dragon mounts, Invincible, and specifically the Deathwing mount. Those ones, I'll be totally okay with them having dragon riding.
It.
But it's not going to happen anytime soon because all of the customization on the dragon riding has been like a lot of effort by the devs. So even if it will happen, maybe in like two expansions, maybe. Probably not even next expansion.
Still using flight points and stuff. There seems to be this idea of, oh, well, I've never used a flight point again. Depends what I'm doing. If I'm like fully engaged in the game, I'll Dragonfly. It's way faster. But if I'm going to go to the bathroom or something, I'll use a flight point.
Which is exactly why I use how I use mounts.
Fly at all. I'll use a waygate. Waygates are really good. They like skip the entire zone. Dragonflying is fast. It's not faster than instant though. So, you know, all these options are there to make things easier, to make things work. So, after that, advanced flying done. Glory to the Dragonflight hero done. Then I decided to look a little bit at gear. I wanted to do gear and profession. So I did the Mythic Zero sweep. But the sheer amount of gear, and there's some links down below for you guys that is available from rares and stuff. I'm sure many of you have found out from your friends now about this, but if you don't, there's some resources I've linked down below. One is a sheet done by Gingy from Echo, which has a list of all the rares that are like the super rares.
That is really cool. The other thing is, all these rares, I don't know if they have a daily or a weekly lockout, and they always gear up to, well, I believe like up to 16 item levels higher than what your current highest is. So if you're like 370, you might get a 382. More likely you'll get like a 376, but yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like 6 to 16 item levels higher than you're equipped. So it's kind of a gamble.
Rares, these are the ones that drop the very high level gear, and you can do them once per day. So you can kill them as many times as you want, but you only get loot once per day. So there's a link I'm going to put down there. It's just an imager link, which is the name of the mob and what it drops, because you don't need them all. Obviously, certain things don't drop plate gear, for example. And a weak aura, which was linked to me in my chat, which also shows you which zone you're in and which rares you have not killed yet.
That's cool.
For that day. So you can remember, oh, crap, I've not done this one today. So I should probably go and do that if you want to get this early gear leading into Mythic Plus. Some people are already very high gear. Some people pushing up towards 380. It's not going to matter.
Oh, yeah, I'd like a guildmate of mine is like 384. For reasons.
Plus is coming, but it will help you get those.
Ain't got time for that. I got level.
Unquestionably, having more gear is helpful, but it is gear that you're going to replace. So I wouldn't stress on it.
Extremely fast, yes.
It's like, oh, I've got to do every rare every day.
Mythic Plus 2 is what? 378, I believe? Then Mythic 4 is like 385 or 382 or whatever, right? It's like... The Mythic 5 would be already like 390s. And it's like... You will 100% be able to do 2s and 3s for sure. So that's already like 380 item level for the most part. And if you can do 4, you can do 5 and 6 pretty easily as well. So if you can do 4, you can do up to 6. That's a 390 plus, 397, I believe, item level. You're good. Like for a long time. If you do like plus 6s at the beginning, you're good. Like all of this farming is fucking useless. Like wasting your time, like unless you have absolutely nothing else to do, you don't want to level alts, you're sick of renown, whatever, and you just want to break and just want to sit somewhere where the rare spawns, yeah, obviously. But it's like if you have a goal like me, like I need to level all these alts because I'm gonna prove that the game is not alt friendly to begin with, There is absolutely no reason to farm this gear out and waste all the time that you could spend doing something that would actually be useful and more annoying to do once the Mythic Plus comes out.
Okay. No, there's nothing like that in Dragonflight. If you want to get a slight leg up on something you're very quickly going to replace,
Yeah.
then
Go
fair
for
enough.
it.
Or if you don't do any Mythic Plus,
Yeah.
it's a nice gear progression system for you the early game, right? It depends what you want to do when all that stuff comes out. Another side of this is the Trials of Elements and Water. I only really found out about this today,
Oh, the
although
chests.
I'd actually done it while leveling and didn't really know what it was. And
Same.
some of you might be in the same
Same.
situation. So the Trial of Water is in
I
the
did
Iran
it
Plains, and it's
at
just a chest.
65.
So once a day chest, you do a little event. I think it's weekly locked, actually. Yes, it's weekly locked. This is a weekly locked chest. I think it guarantees loot, but it will scale to whatever your current item level is, so it'll be pretty good. So if you're like of a reasonable item level, you'll be getting 370 gear out of it. And there's another one. If you've done the Chromie Time quest line, which takes you back in time, if you go there, it's the Trial of Elements is in a cave at the back. You can go back to the portal, the time portal.
I got so lucky on this one. It literally was on like the last phase as I flew in. I just tagged something and I got the chest. I was like, ooh, good timing.
It's the snowy area, and right at the back of there is a cave, which will give you that loot. You can see it on the footage anyway.
It's like I knew I was close because my FPS dropped substantially. That's how I knew. I was like, I'm getting close.
But that will give you guaranteed loot to get for you as well. So that's really, really awesome. Some good tips.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
some
They
good
have a lot
links
of
down below. So
early
I recommend
gear.
doing the rares if you want to, right? They're there if you fly around and do stuff. I wouldn't recommend doing the Giga Renown farms some people are doing. There are some pretty crazy renown farms out there. We've seen people already hit like 25 by farming dirt piles. A lot of people are already bestest friends with Rathian and been farming endless keys. And
Bro, straight up, I do not think Rathian is a good leader. The guy didn't do one thing right since we met him. He was brutal when he was born. He fucked everyone up in MoP. He brought about WoD. He did nothing in Legion. In what's called Battle for Azeroth, he was a boss that we had to fight because he got corrupted again. The only good thing he did was like open the carcass of Nazah so we can get in. Other than that, he didn't do anything. Even now, when you look at him like in the game, bro died, like almost died to a fucking rock. Okay, like what the hell is that? Somehow he also didn't grow in the last 5 years, even though in 2 years he grew from like a whelp to like what he is now. But in the last like since WoD, because like we saw him in Legion, WoD to the end of Legion was maybe like a year of in like maybe I would say probably even half a year of in-game time, right? Approximately. You know what? Even let's say 2 years. So you're telling me from WoD to Legion to BFA basically, which happened very close, like together. He grew to be this dragon that he is now, but then from BFA to what do you call it? To Dragonflight plus 5 years. So like let's say it's 2 years per expansion, right? Every 2 years of expansion is 2 years in the game. Let's assume, which is not even the case, but let's give it that, right? If that is the case, okay, if that is the case, so in WoD, I'm assuming he's still a whelp based on like his he looks the same as he did in Cataclysm, okay? So WoD, MoP, WoD, Legion, he looks the same. So that's 6 years. BFA, okay, he already grew, he's bigger. Shadowlands, Dragonflight, beginning of Dragonflight, so like let's say let's call it 4 plus 5, so that's 9 years. So in 9 years it didn't grow at all compared to like the 6 years before. You know, whatever. Dragons age differently, but I would expect him to be bigger, specifically because he was way bigger as a boss in Nyalotha. Just saying. Also, the dude lost to Rock. Also, he's not very bright. Like, I have known nothing about that other black dragon. I even forgot his name. The guy that was in Burning Crusade, apparently. But, like, at least he's mature. At least he knows how to, like, strategize. Like, he's not impulsive. He thinks things over. As a leader, I would go with that guy. Rathian, I would use him as like a commando unit, do things on your own, very childish and very straight to the point. Honestly, even commando, he would be kind of shit. So yeah, I don't know why Rathian would be the leader. He's way too childish to be a leader.
So on and so forth. Not sure I'd recommend that, but it's up to you.
He's actually more childish. This is kind of funny. He's more childish now than he was during BFA and especially during MOP. He's more childish now than he was in MOP. Like, the guy regressed. Same with Kelegos. Kelegos is also like a very bad character if you think about like his development.
We got another week or so of relaxation. Go and do what you want to do. My final impressions of the first week, despite a little bit of server lag,
it's fine.
It seems to be being caused by the Cobalt assembly. It seems entirely in the Azure span.
I don't know what that is.
I'm having a blast. An absolute blast. I'm so happy.
That's fine, yeah.
I've got this list of things I want to do. None of them are required. And that's my style of gaming, because I've just been like, oh, today I'm going to do this. I spent a good 2 hours today on a thing I didn't know existed, where we had a raid of people with harpoons throwing conchs into the water, which spawned threshers, and we had all these people harpooning them and dragging them into the onto the shore, because ultimately there was 3 rares that it spawned. I had no idea. I was just doing Gascari stuff and was like, oh, I've got a harpoon. What can I do with this? Oh, I can go down here and use this thing that I found, and that's what this does. And then more people were like, oh, I think a rare comes from here. And very quickly we had a full raid of people dragging all these things in until we got all the rares to spawn, and people got some very nice items out of it. I hope they scale this loot up, because it would be really sad if it...
I hope they stop scaling it past normal raid difficulty. That's the highest this should go. There's no way these rares are the same quality as like heroic raid gear. They just wouldn't make any sense. The way I see it, and I mentioned in a different video, normal raid level is story mode, right? This is what you do for the story. You do the normal raid. LFR shouldn't exist. I honestly, for me, LFR doesn't exist unless I'm like bored as fuck and want some laughs. But for the most part, normal raid is the story mode. World content is the story mode. So anything comes from the world should not be higher than normal raid. That's just my opinion on it.
A couple of weeks when the real endgame progression systems launch, is all this
specifically because all of these rares, by the way, you can solo, specifically as a tank, but like honestly later on you'll be able to solo them as DPS. You can probably solo them as healers, just gonna take forever, but as any tank, maybe warrior, I don't know how good warrior healing is without generating a lot of rage. So like on one target you're not gonna generate as much, but like yeah, like all the tanks can easily solo all of these rares.
Cool world stuff just dies away. And because there's very few rare mounts and stuff in Dragonflight. I was talking to our rare mount collector Crusher, who had like 30 of something to farm at the start of Shadowlands, and he's got maybe 7 or something to farm in Dragonflight. There's less of that, so I really hope they scale this stuff up and make it relevant long term, even if it's slightly under heroic or whatever. Like it needs to stay relevant, because right now running around and seeing hundreds of people take part in these places and events and just getting stuff done has been awesome. Like going,
I can't wait till you will see no one in the world, because everyone will be in Valdraka queuing or like looking for a group for a Mythic Plus, or just sitting on top of a mountain waiting for their group.
Dragonbane Keep and seeing a whole squad of dragons land and everyone's getting ready to go and do it is great.
It does. Where that leads it does look good. Yeah.
I just hope they continue to make it a profitable experience for the players to get along with. On a side note to that, I just mentioned the fishing stuff we did. There is an achievement called River Rapids something in the Azure span. It will give you a boat. If you don't have the raft from Mr. Pandaria and you want a boat, it's extremely quick and easy to get. You'll see it now. It's well worth doing. It takes you about 20 seconds and you'll get yourself a little boat so you can go fishing on the shores and things like that. So have some fun with. All right, guys. Next week, I'm going to look at professions. Finally. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe.
I would say look at professions a week to 2 weeks after the Mythic Plus comes out, and then review it. Right now, you can be like, oh, well, professions are fucking great. You can get so much, such a high item level, blah, 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 blah. Talk to me when Mythic Plus releases and when the raids release, and then tell me if the professions are worth it, because they're not.
be probably.
Well,
before
except
we
enchanting and alchemy and and cooking, the usual, you know.
get into the actual raid stuff, which should be fun. All right. So I hope you guys watch us while we're at the race to world
Awesome.
first. It should be a fun time. I will be in Switzerland with the guys, and there should be no shortage of content for you. Be good. I'll see you again. Bye, everybody.
Awesome. Fantastic video. Fantastic video. As always, I do love it. Obviously, we're gonna like this guy. I mean, again, good take, but you know, let's stay realistic. It's the first week to 2 weeks. I mean, it is what it is. Best ever WoW Dragonflight launch gearing up guide. I mean, plus 372 is like doesn't mean much. But yeah, anyways, yeah, that's the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.